what you're seeing is the glimpses of what makes Chandler Simpson so special. If you would tell me, like, can we have Chandler Simpson sign up for Juan Pierre's career? I think a lot of us would be like, yep, like done. You know.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And it is your boy, Evan Closky. Kevin, I'm so impressed that you were able to do that in one take. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's inside baseball. I had a little trouble the first couple times.
Little case of the giggles.
Yeah.
Little case of the giggles. You know, it is spring training, trying to get back into the rhythm of it, even though we've been doing this every day for 7 years.
It's spring training for everybody, all right? So, yeah.
Even the pros, even the all-stars need a couple warm-up ABs and a couple innings to get up to snuff there. So, speaking of spring training, Evan, what has stuck out to you thus far in the handful of games that have been played by the Rays?
It's got to be Curtis Mead, right? Curtis Mead and Chandler Simpson. Yeah. Just, overall, the hitting hasn't been anything to really brag about. It also hasn't been anything to be overly worried about either. But what you're seeing is the glimpses of what makes Chandler Simpson so special. And us, and certainly you, if you're listening to Locked On Rays, you probably have heard, maybe even seen some highlights of Chandler Simpson at some point. I know that we've certainly talked about him, but a lot of the layman Rays fans, they don't follow prospects like, a lot of us who are big fans of baseball and the Rays. And, they're seeing this kid for the first time and they're like, holy smokes. Mm-hmm. I had someone on Twitter, I thought it was actually a pretty good comp for him when he's like, I didn't know about this kid. But like a Juan Pierre, like that's kind of what you're looking at with him. Probably has a higher ceiling with stolen bases than Juan Pierre, but certainly if you would tell me, like, can we have Chandler Simpson sign up for Juan Pierre's career? I think a lot of us would be like, yep, like done. But Curtis Mead has been special. 8 for 9 in spring training, hit a mammoth home run, and he said after the game, putting on the extra weight that he did, he doesn't feel like he has to now sell out to get the power and the things that he needs to do, that it should come a little bit more naturally for him. And also what I've loved about Curtis Mead is that he's spraying the ball. He looks a little Yandy Diaz-esque with sort of these hits the opposite way and utilizing open spaces where he can. A couple of fortunate landing spots, but also other things that have been just driven really well. So there's like 12 positional players who are locked in, since the 13th would be Ha-Seong Kim. That 13th spot is completely up for grabs. And it's hard not to say at this moment that Curtis Mead isn't deserving of that final spot.
Yes. And I know that I think this is obviously a Eloy Jimenez versus Curtis Mead battle during spring training. But like you said, Chandler Simpson is making his case. I know that it would be incredibly of a long shot that he makes it. In fact, if I had green Skittles, Kevin, I would not put them on Chandler Simpson being that 13th guy. But it is really impressive that a guy that has never even touched AAA is doing what he's doing in spring training. What needs to happen for Chandler Simpson to get called up before September? Does it need to be an injury, or can he actually make his case to be included in that group of 13 without an injury present?
Yeah, I think you're looking at, I posed this on my X account at eClosky WTSP, and I kind of did a 4 or 5 minute rant on it. There are two questions with Chandler Simpson. Is he MLB ready? Is there a spot for him? The answer to question one is yes, he is MLB ready. Just because his skill set, he's got great bat to ball skills. He can steal, he's freaky fast, and he can play defense. Like, that's all going to translate to the next level. There's nothing in AAA that's going to tell us anything differently about him. I don't expect him to fall off a cliff. I expect him to continue making contact, continue to have a decent average, and he's never going to sniff a home run in probably his career. So that's just the way that he's built. But to make it to the team, the quickest route obviously is injury. And if not injury, you're talking about maybe we get to June, late May, and DeLuca just isn't there, right? Like, look, we tried DeLuca. He ain't coming around. He's batting .202. We're now trying to do square peg round hole thing in the outfield, and you got Taylor Walls out there now, essentially. Maybe he's playing great defense, but you're right back to where you were last year, right? Up the middle. We got good fielding, but we don't necessarily have the bat. And again, with DeLuca, he, at least with like a Jose Siri, Kevin Kiermaier was a pretty darn good hitter. I don't think enough people give him credit for what he was able to do. Certainly not like the best hitter in the game, but when those people were hitting slumps and they weren't putting it together, they also had a Gold Glove caliber defense behind them.
Right.
I still am a little bit skeptical that Johnny DeLuca is going to be that exceptional in center, which means that his threshold needs to be higher for his offensive output, because the Rays said we're gonna give up a little defensively to get more offense. So he's got to answer the bell there. So I think maybe if DeLuca slumped, if Morel wasn't working out there in the outfield after a while, and it becomes very clear he's got to be a DH kind of guy. It's a fact finding mission here out of the gates. A lot of fans want to throw some of these players to the wayside so early, but
yeah.
Morel played 49 games with the Rays. We need to figure out if Morel is a thing. We need to figure out if Johnny DeLuca is a thing. We need to figure out if Josh Lowe regains 2023 form. We need to figure out if, there's a spot for Jose Caballero, if there's a long-term spot for Richie Palacios. Can Jonathan Aranda finally break out, right? There's a lot of questions here. So if some of those aren't answered, those spots might wiggle open for Chandler. But the thing about Chandler is when he comes up, he stays up. Because he's going to create everything that you're sniffing right now. Ooh, nice. Yeah, when he gets to the major league level, he is going to be a headliner. He is going to be someone that creates highlights. We are going to salivate over him. I said it just like in the last episode. He's going to be a fan favorite. People are going to buy his jerseys. Everyone's going to know his name, just like Billy Hamilton, right? These players are special. They're not necessarily like 7-WAR players here, right? I mean, he might be like a 2-3-WAR player. But he just, what he does on the field and the excitement he brings is probably not going to equate to what his WAR might tell us. But that's why and again, he's not on the 40-man roster. I haven't brought that up in discussion because I'm not too worried about that. They can create the spot if they need to. Yeah. But I just think that's sort of the route. Like, it's tough because it would take failure for him to rise. And as fans, you don't want to root for the failure. So it's a wait and see. But look, if it's the end of May and this man's hitting 350 in AAA, he's got 45 stolen bags, what is this team going to do? Right. Like, you can't just leave him down there. Like, it's time.
And without injuries, too. If there's no injuries and he's making his case down there, it's like, okay, then who goes?
Well, I would argue, Taylor Walls is on the chopping block. Yeah. I think that, Ha-Seong Kim's coming. Carson Williams is next. So, you don't really need a shortstop, right? Like, that's covered in the future. Like, maybe a backup shortstop, and the Rays have to decide, is Taylor Walls going to be our future backup shortstop, or are we going to try to make Jose Caballero our backup shortstop? They have to answer that question, because at some point they are going to run into a little redundancy. The Palacios, the Caballero, the Chandler Simpson. Means at least a different type of skill set, but I'm talking about like redundancy in what you provide on the field, right? Like Caballero, not great power, got some wheels, plays good defense. Richie Palacios, very versatile, so I don't see him going anywhere. But again, like, you're not relying on power, solid speed, plays good defense. It's just at some point you need a little bit of you can't have a monotonous sort of look. So, I mean, there's a chance that Jose Caballero is doing very well and they want to bring up Chandler Simpson and they make a tough call and they trade him for prospects, another piece, whatever it might be. They get around the trade deadline. Where are they? Is Yandy and Brandon available? Because that would, you can also shift some things to then, create another spot, which, we're not going to go through all the gymnastics of moving this person to there, move them to there, which puts Chandler in center, whatever it might be. But they have a lot of things. This is what the Rays love to do. They're not cornered. They're good, but they are going to have to make a tough decision. And that's just an Eric Neander staple. And maybe sometimes it's been to his detriment to really grab too much talent to the point where you don't have enough time to watch it really flourish. And I think they learned from that in the past. And now that's why you're trying to see Aranda get his shot after so many years. And DeLuca, we're going to make him the guy. And they're trying, Josh Lowe, this is a big year. So, yeah, as I've always said, like 26, 27, 28, they are going to emerge as a World Series contender during those years. And so 2025 for this season, while I believe in this team, I don't think they're World Series bound. I believe in this team. I think they can have a great year. But I think really the biggest thing we got to learn is what do we know about some of these guys? And in doing so, at what point do we bring up Chandler and say it's time to get you acclimated for, maybe making a postseason run, but also making you the guy moving into 2026?
Well, with that skill set, I imagine he'll be in the league for quite some time. Billy Hamilton had a 10-year career. Juan Pierre had a 14-year career. Not a lot of home runs between the two of them, but they had other skill sets indeed. We have more to discuss. Closky on the clock and baseball trivia Name That War. But first, we have to tell the audience something very important, and that is FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get it on than at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can still stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. So what are you waiting for? Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That is FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, it is that time. Closky on the clock.
It's time for Closky. Closky on the clock.
Jazz hands, everybody. Jazz hands. Yep, that's how you do it.
It's tough. You gotta
Don't try it while you're in the car driving around. Listen to
only if you're a stoplight.
Yeah, stoplight. That's okay.
Stoplight's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop sign also good. Just
stop sign's good.
Make it quick.
Or if you have a Tesla, I guess you could do it anytime.
Hey, look at that.
Ulises, you want to? Ulises, you want to kick it off with the first question?
Yes, I do. Okay, so we've talked to Curtis Mead. We've talked about Chandler Simpson, but what we haven't talked about is the latest, hottest thing in baseball. ABS. Tell me, Evan, what has been your first impression, your first viewpoint on what this automated ball strike system is all about?
Yes. I mean, there needs to be an understanding. I think a lot of the players need to figure out what is and is not the zone. I think the ABS system typically runs a little bit lower. So you have to adjust what you think is a strike, maybe a bit high in the zone. And we got to figure out where the blind spots are of this ABS system. But anything that provides a live checks and balances on the umpires is great because you got to also remember that when you have a live checks and balances, if you call out an umpire and he's wrong on a certain pitch, moving forward, the umpire is going to recalibrate and understand where they're getting wonky. So it also should help the umpires moving forward in the game. Obviously, we will not have it this year, but I welcome it, and I'm a big fan, and have been throughout watching the minors too.
Nice.
All right, very good. We did get a question earlier this week, but also wanted to get your thoughts on it. What are your expectations for Chris Morel this season, and do you see him as just playing left field, or will he be moved around from third to second to outfield? Just what is your line on Chris Morel at this juncture?
So I think that Chris Morel is going to stay in the outfield. He's going to stay in left field. Even when they acquired him last year, they said they're going to bop him around in some places, but the goal is entering 2025, we want to put him in a spot where he's in one place, can get comfortable there and do what he's got to do. So he's going to be in left field or DH. I don't foresee him trickling back into the infield unless it's an emergency situation or the Rays are doing such extraordinary tinkering that in a late inning scenario, they found themselves in a place where they got to put him at second. But I would say for Morel, he's got to at least hit 25 home runs. Like that, to me, to be a successful player, to be everything that the Rays want him to be, he's got to be 25 plus. So that's where my expectations are. I don't think I'm going to, I would like for him to hit 30. I think he's capable of it, but 25 homers, 235, 240 average, probably a ton of strikeouts. And then you just hope that, the OPS is there, that he's able to also lay some doubles. So, and again, if he can do some of those things, he would help the Rays lineup, especially given how depleted they were with power last season. But yeah, to me, we can break down everything we want, but I'm staring at that OPS with Morel, and more specifically, he's got to get to 25 homers. He has to. That is the low place.
In the context of being a fan, I'm kind of scared about Morel because I don't want him to be a next Jose Siri. I know Jose Siri had a really great 2023 season, but it's just scary with that guy that can just be hot for 2 weeks and disappear. I mean, he came to the Rays and didn't he hit 2 home runs in less than 5 games, or something like that?
Or he hit 2 home runs, I think, in 3 games. It was back-to-back games, something like that. It was bang bang.
It was bang bang. Yeah. So that kind of has me scared.
That's always been him, though.
Yeah.
But that's always been Brandon Lau. It doesn't matter. The when you put it all together at the end of the year, it works out. And I don't care if he's hot for 2 weeks.
No, if the stat line's at there at the end of the year, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But and that's what Brandon does too, right? Throughout the course of the year, Brandon's going to win you a handful of games because he's on a heater. Morel hopefully is on his own heater at a different time than Brandon and can win you some games too. That's the key. That's where 2023 all came together, is that you had Taylor Walls and all these players who were at their tippy top of their game. They all just collided at once in the first month and a half of the year, and then they kind of regressed, but they were able to milk that lead for so long that they were never going to miss the playoffs. But that's really the key with Morel. Again, Morel isn't the fielder that Siri was. So if it's bad offensively speaking, I think there's some really tough question. Neander might have to have a mea culpa and say, I got this trade wrong, and we got Hunter Biggie, and that's it. But we'll see if we get to that point.
Yeah, we're definitely going to track that. Isak v. Chris.
Look at the Cubs, by the way. They already gave up on him, right? They
said, hey, we got an opportunity here. We get Tucker. Let's do it. I mean, also, it's Tucker. So, it's also saying Isak got you Tucker. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But, they also got to pay him 1 year right now. Yeah. And, I mean, Houston has been pursuing Isak forever because of their ballpark.
Oh my gosh, Isak's going to destroy in
Yeah,
Houston.
he will.
It's going to be great. For my Closky on the clock question, which will be my last unless you have another one, Kev, look, the three of us, only two of us could play with the Yankees before 2 weeks ago. But guess what? Now all of us can play for the New York Yankees because there's no beard ban. It is gone. The facial hair, at least grooming. You have to groom it. Evan, has it been ridiculous? This way 20 years too late? What's your whole take on having grown men be told, hey, don't have a beard?
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. Look, I think that some of the beards that we see out there in the game, like the Brian Wilson type beards, like I think that's ridiculous too, right? In the other direction,
Brandon Marsh,
Charlie Blackmon. Like I do think there should be a sense of professionalism in how you look as being a professional athlete, but saying no beards, no whatever, I think that's pretty crazy. You gotta let players be themselves and look the way they want. But I do understand, doing it within the confines of still being professional and representing an organization, a jersey, a franchise, a tradition, whatever it might be. But yeah, I mean, obviously it was an antiquated rule. I'm glad they rectified it. It's been 40 years too long, but whatever. They're here now. It's 2025, and we've made it, people. So good on the Yankees for changing course, and I'm sure that wasn't an easy decision for Hal, considering you're doing something that a rule was instituted for so long, and one of the greatest franchises in all sports, and you're flipping it. So whatever, onward and upward, and now I better see a bunch of beards for the Yankees.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Okay, it is time for baseball trivia. Name that war. Ulises, you have trivia for us today?
I have trivia for you both, and I'm looking at this question, and I'm like, I must like you guys a lot because, boy, this is just a slam dunk. I'm going to be very disappointed. All right.
Oh man,
my teacher voice is coming out,
setting us up for failure.
Reverse psychology here. It's so easy. You can't miss this fastball down the middle. All right, boys. We talked about a guy who's probably, if he is healthy and is just about 4 seasons deep, he's going to be the leader in stolen bases. And of course, that's exactly what we're looking at. Not Chandler Simpson. He's not on this list yet. But I have the top 11 Rays players with the most stolen bases for the franchise. Boys, again, it's down the middle. There's 11. I'm going to need 8 names.
Okay. All right, Carl Crawford.
Boom. Clubhouse leader with 409.
Kiermaier.
Yeah, go for it. No, you can keep going.
BJ Upton, Kiermaier.
BJ Upton, number 2 on the list, 232. Number 3 on the list, Kevin Kiermaier, 112.
I got to think about this.
Ben Zobrist.
Number 4 on the list, 102.
Desmond Jennings.
Number 5 on the list with 95.
Trying to go back to the World Series team. Anybody that stand out on the World Series team?
It's a 2020 World Series.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we can go back to the 08 squad too, but
now Evan Longoria.
Evan Longoria is incorrect. Strike 1.
Yeah.
ABS.
Like, would a Manuel Margot? Like, did he spend enough years here to do it? I'm trying to think of
I don't know if he did.
Yeah, I mean,
Jose Siri maybe.
But I mean, Siri barely stole. He really didn't steal that much.
Tommy Pham. I'm just throwing out names here. These
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
guesses.
I mean, we got to kind of go back.
Randy Wynn. I don't know.
Randy Wynn. Oh my god. I just feel like there's someone that's just glaring.
I mean, you could.
I'm trying to think of people who have been here the longest.
Taylor Walls, maybe.
I don't think he's. I mean.
Oh, I got it. Randy Arozarena.
Randy Rosarino,
God, yes.
boys. 2020 team, exactly that guy, number 6 with.
I think Tommy Pham might be on this list. He was a 2020 guy, like every year.
He was a 2020 guy.
I keep thinking about the infielders. You can go Pham.
You guys got 6.
Tommy Pham.
You guys got 6, and you've gotten the first 6, so that's pretty cool.
Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham. Strike 2.
Oh, okay. We gotta choke up on that here.
Choke up. Protect the plate, boys. Come on, go get him.
Brett Phillips wasn't playing enough.
I would say Caballero, but he hasn't been. Well, maybe
Caballero had 40 last year. What did he have? I mean, 45? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the. I mean, I can't make him 11, could it?
I'm going to give you guys some help because you have 2 strikes. Number 11 has 61.
Okay.
61, yeah. So okay, no. Would it be Josh? Would Josh Lowe have enough?
That's up to you.
Nah, I don't think we can go there. But I mean, he's probably close to that mark, if not 61. We'll keep that in the back pocket. There's got to be someone that we're missing from the past. Why am I?
Who played at least 5 or 6 years in a row?
That's the tough part with the Rays is
I think we're missing some guys that played early on, whatever the guy's name is, not Garrett Williams, but some guy.
Would Malik Smith be one?
Oh, that's on there.
Malik Smith.
Yeah, Malik Smith.
I really wanted you guys to get the strike 3.
Oh.
And you know what sucks about this is that you both said one name that is on here. Actually,
is it Josh Lowe?
Number 7 on the list, Julio Lugo, 88. Number 8, I am sorry, Kevin. Randy Wynn with 80. You had him. You had him. Number 9, how dare you both? Venezuelan bump, Miguel Cairo. Gosh darn it.
Miggy Kai stole. How many did he steal?
9. Very nice. Number 10. Some people say the best shortstop that they had seen unless 20. Jason Bartlett with 61. And number 11. This one goes to Mr. Closky. He knew it. He just didn't pull the trigger. Mr. Josh Lowe with 61.
I said 60. God, it was when I was doing the math. When I was doing the math in my head, I was like, I had a 30-something, a 20, a high 20-something. I was like, it kind of feels like 61.
Yeah. No, you both had Randy Wynn.
I was gonna save Josh for our last guess, but I wanted to see if we can get something more solidified. That was a good question.
All right, that was a good question.
I should have been better at that.
My name that war. Just a little hint here. This guy did steal a lot of bases in his career. He played for both the Twins and the Yankees, and very briefly, the Royals. Chuck Knobloch. What is his? God.
All right, I'll try to be quick with this because we wasted a lot of time. He played a bunch of years. I'll go with. He wasn't a very good defender, if I remember, but I don't know if he just had some bad moments. I'm gonna go with 13.2.
Okay,
I'm just throwing it to the fire.
16.5.
All right. Chuck Knobloch played 12 years in the bigs. He stole 407 bases by my count. Had a career 289 batting average, 98 homers, 1,839 hits. A lot of doubles, a lot of triples. He had 14 triples one year, actually. Rookie of the year.
Hits?
What's that?
How many total hits?
1,839. Four-time All-Star, four-time World Series champ. He was actually known as a very fundamentally sound infielder, so he got to the Yankees. I think Closky dropped his quarter there. Then he developed the yips and couldn't throw. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Don't look up his Wikipedia page because there's some issues with.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks for the homework. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not getting the character bump as far as Hall of Fame voting, if that was in the cards there.
Damn.
I did not expect this. I don't know how this is possible, but Chuck Knobloch's career WAR, according to Baseball Reference, is not 12 or 15 or 20. It is 44.6.
We blew it.
He had nearly a 9 WAR season with the Twins in 1995.
What?
Well,
he batted 341.
I'm gonna have to be that guy and say I was 4 years old in '95. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with that.
He fell apart a little bit with the Yankees, but
I think the problem is I probably remember the tail end.
Yeah.
Growing up in New York, I probably remember the tail end of his career, and probably don't have a fond memory. Didn't appreciate what happened before he got to New York.
When did he get to New York? 98, 97?
It was 98. Yep.
So he won 98, 99, 00. So he won 3?
Yeah. So I was not expecting that. I was probably I would have guessed like 20 or 22.
That's probably the most shocking one that I've ever done.
Number one, I think for us had been Brian Giles. I think this one tops it.
Yeah. I mean, if you asked me who had a higher WAR, would it be Chuck Knobloch or Juan Pierre? I probably would have said Juan Pierre.
Yeah.
But Juan Pierre is more similar to what you guys just guessed.
Because I looked up Juan Pierre, I actually know his baseball reference.
Exactly.
So I can't even say it.
All right. Evan, how can people find your amazing, wonderful, stupendous work?
So hit me up on the X at eClosky WTSP. You can see it there on YouTube, or ECLOSKY WTSP. I will respond to 99.9% of you. Unless you're a jerk, then I'm just not gonna engage. But then also make sure you hit up 10 Tampa Bay, 10 Tampa Bay Plus, 10tampabay.com. You can find us streaming, Fire, Roku, all that fun stuff. And we have a busy month of March. Obviously, March Madness is coming down the chute.
Mm-hmm.
The St. Pete Grand Prix is happening this week. The Valspar Championship's happening in March. We got Rays baseball spring training all throughout the month before, leading up to that home opener at the end of the month. So just make sure that you're checking in with us, and especially if you're in the Tampa St. Pete area, tune into 10. You know what I'm saying? See me Monday.
Good stuff. On that note, we'll talk to you next week.